Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Raw Recap here on the Pro Wrestling Sheet. I am your host, John Rocha. Hey, Paul Heyman, ECW. Well, we got a nice taste of it last night on Raw. Never mind, not hosted by, but a lot of things happened last night that was crazy. We're going to break it all down. God damn it, my co-host and the CEO of Pro Wrestling Sheet, Ryan Satin. How are you? He threw me off.
I'm great.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, last night I was talking to my girlfriend after the show, and I had a similar, I kept like fumbling my words, and I was like, I think Raw was just so good, I'm befuddled.
I think that's, befuddled.
Good word,
like
right?
That,
Yeah.
like
I'm trying to up my vocab game lately. I know the words, I just don't say them.
Yeah,
verklempt,
befuddled. Yeah, I like it.
But yeah, dude, Raw was fantastic last night, dude.
Nice.
Like, I loved it so much from beginning to end. I felt like the pacing was great. The storylines were there. Even if you didn't like, see, here's the thing.
Yeah.
When wrestling's good or great or whatever, I feel like the critique of wrestling is a lot less combative, a lot less contentious, because I feel like we all enjoyed it.
Of course.
We're just picking apart the intricacies of what we would have enjoyed a little more, and it's a little less like, well, I hated it. No, I didn't. It's a little less like that. When everyone can kind of universally agree it was good, to me, I enjoy to hear and read people analyze the show and stuff like that, because to me it's more entertaining, and this was just great all around. You know, I'm assuming, you know, they wanted to play off of the fact that we all know that Bischoff is that Paul Heyman is the new executive director of Raw, Bischoff is the new executive director of Smackdown. So I am sure they wanted to do a bunch of things to make you think that there were things changing, you know?
Right.
Similarly to, like, you know, I feel like they want to take a different approach this time. You know, 6 months ago, they did the whole Raw sucks, we're going to make changes thing. And then they didn't make any changes.
No, really.
You know, to me, actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
So I don't get shit from watching a show where they go, our show sucked, it's going to be better now. And I go, well, prove it to me. Don't tell me, prove it to me.
Right.
And last night was an action speaking louder than words scenario where it's like, they're being like, we're going to try and have the shows have a creative feel, be a little bit different to the shows. And last night, I mean, they absolutely went out of their way to make the show feel unique, to give storylines to people all across the board, to make just things feel different, you know. And I think they did a great job of it all around.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. We're gonna break it all down. It emanated from Dallas, Texas, which seems like the perfect place for Paul Heyman to do his first Raw. Braun Strowman came out to take on Bobby Lashley right off the bat. You know, the announcers there, Cole, and
no promo.
Cole, Corey Graves, and what do I forget? Renee Young were just kind of laid the groundwork of what was going to happen tonight, and then boom, we were right into it. Strowman and Lashley, really good, powerful, strong match. Holy Mary, Mother of God. There were some scary moments where I thought these dudes are so big, just throwing each other. It was almost like watching a superhero fight in real life. Yeah, because they were taking some pretty hard bumps.
I felt like, similarly to when the talent at Stomping Grounds were like, we're going to show up.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to show everyone that we don't care if, like, there's not a ton of build behind this pay-per-view or there's not a ton of excitement for the show. We're going to show everyone why they should be excited. Yeah. And it was a lot of the smaller guys doing that. I feel like, not to say that they're small guys, but just not like the hosses on the roster. And I feel like Lashley and Braun last night came to play. Like,
they really did.
They were like, we're going to have a match where it looks like we're beating each other up. Like, we're fighting for real, not just like a wrestling match, but we are looking like we are beating each other the hell up. And they really did a good job of it. And, you know, the moment where they finally like worked their way up the stage and, you know, they're fighting on top of the ramp, and then Braun rams Lashley into the wall, and you just the fireworks go off, and Corey Graves is like, holy shit, and all that was just fantastic. You know, not only did it look cool, we all missed pyro, so it was like, cool, things are blowing up again, awesome. Like, we're like little kids in that aspect, where it's like you're like lighting something on fire, you're like, yeah, that's cool, fire, like Beavis and Butthead, fire, and I felt that way looking pyro. I was like, yeah, pyro, like, gets me hyped up, and to see it, and it was a bit excessive, like, not like
went a little too far.
Electrical outlet probably wouldn't explode that much necessarily.
Keep exploding 5 minutes later. No.
Probably not. Yeah. But as a visual spectacle, it looked really cool. Yeah. And I felt like they played it up perfectly afterwards, not talking over it, silence, showing the people, rushing around. Now, because you have seen when an actual scary moment happens, they cut away. They go to commercial. They're not going to show you. And that was that was how you knew no one's actually hurt. But I like they treated it that way, because to me, wrestling is its best when someone watching it, when there's a good chunk of the crowd watching that goes, was that real? And I think that's perfect. That's all you need in wrestling.
When you can suspend the disbelief to the point where the crowd's like, wait, was that? Yeah, like we saw with AEW in that chair shot that you covered on Pro Wrestling Sheet. Yeah, you're like, wait, was that intended? Like the Rock's or the Foley still talks about all those chair shots he took from The Rock, that they were legitimate chair shots and they really messed him up. So like you just never know. You never know when it's going to happen, and when it does, you're like caught in the possibility it might be real. Because remember when they tore down all those scaffolding on top of, was it Lesnar, or was it on top of
I forget Strowman? Who he did, but it was Strowman who pulled it down.
Yeah, Strowman pulled it on top of Lesnar.
Yeah, it was Strowman who pulled it on top of Lesnar. Yeah.
And you were scared because that was a lot of steel falling on one man, and you were really surprised at how was that real or not. So.
I also feel like they've gotten away from Braun being a big deal.
Exactly.
And those moments did help Braun become a bigger deal, and they'd gotten away from it.
Monster among men,
Get us back to that. Braun was awesome when he was doing destructive things.
Exactly. It's such a curious move, though, Ryan. I want to get your thoughts here. We're on the precipice of the Fox situation. And for Vince to make this move to put Heyman in charge of Raw, Bischoff in charge of SmackDown, it's such an interesting decision, because you're almost to the finish line getting there. Will these two guys mess the product up, or push the boundaries of what...
No, because it's all going through Vince still.
Okay.
It's all going through Vince still.
Vince is still approving it.
Vince is still the top of the pyramid.
Those guys are in charge.
Picture like the pyramid. This is the bottom of the pyramid, the little triangles,
Yeah.
And these are like all the creative team, like on each side, Raw, SmackDown. And like right here is Bischoff and Heyman.
Right.
And right here at that pinnacle is still Vince, and everything's still going through Vince McMahon. It's going to go through Vince McMahon for a while.
So both of them are filtering creative to present to make Vince McMahon, do you think?
Correct. Because before
everyone pitched to Vince.
Well, no. Before there was there is still a lead writer.
Right.
Road Dogg. Road Dogg was the lead writer of SmackDown for a long time, and he recently stopped that position. And I feel like, but Road Dogg was the lead writer.
Yeah.
So how movies work. So let's say we're going like movies and TVs, like production, right?
Yep.
Lead writer is not on the same level as like the director or the executive producer and stuff like that. And so
unless it's a really well-known writer, yes, they do not get that position. You're right.
True.
It's very rare.
They have to be a very respected writer to be on that level.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's kind of the vibe, is that like instead of being the lead writers of the show, like they're going to be the manager, director of the show, like leading the charge. Or even I don't want to say executive producer, because no one's really above the executive producer. So I guess like
the owner is.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
So Vince would be the owner.
Yeah,
I think they're both executive producers, and Vince is the owner.
That's kind of how I look at it. Yeah. The studio head.
Yeah,
Vince is like the studio head. They're like the executive producers. Exactly.
Absolutely.
And so,
or VPs or whatever. Yeah.
But it's gonna be a slow process. I've reported this on the site that they got to slowly assimilate into these roles. They're not going to be like diving in where it's like, here's the keys to the kingdom, Paul. So even, or Eric, even though Raw wanted to give that vibe last night, it was very clear they wanted to give that vibe last night of like, they wanted you to think that Heyman was in charge of the show last night, which was smart, which was very smart. Started off with an explosion. You've got like fake, you literally started off the Heyman-Era with a bang.
Yeah.
You started it off with a bang.
Great point.
And it's like, there's a work shoot going on, there's cutscene, and everyone's going like, Heyman's back, baby. And even if it was Vince McMahon's idea, it was brilliant to do that, because it made you think that, and I think that they drove you to a fever pitch all night until Heyman finally appeared on screen, and you were like, oh, and we'll get to that later, obviously, and stuff. But yeah, I thought this was such an effective way to kick off the show. Even as long as it went, to me, this was so much more effective than a 20-minute promo would have been. 10 minutes of like silence and them everyone acting concerned, putting him in the ambulances and stuff.
Cole with that voice.
Yeah, Cole had a somber voice.
They're being put in the ambulance, and we're
going to
find out what happened.
I think they even said the word hospital.
Yeah, hospital, right.
And they never do that anymore. They always say medical facility or whatever. So, great all around. I loved this. Was a great opening to Raw.
And then let's move on, because like once and for all, we finally got some real bookings. No squash matches last night at all. Viking Raiders taking on the New Day. This was surprising to me that they set this up. This was a good battle between these guys. Then Samoa Joe comes down and interrupts and starts to beat on Xavier Woods. Kofi comes down to try to stop that from happening, and then it becomes a free-for-all. And then we go to break, come back, and we've got another six-man tag between these guys. Once again, doing that whole thing where you go to break and then start over again. And then we got a good match all around at the end here with Joe.
At least someone didn't lose in the tag match first, right?
Yeah.
To my recollection.
Yeah, nobody lost.
It was a no contest.
Yeah, it was a no contest,
thing.
yeah.
So that at least made it a little better. I don't like when they when someone lost, then they'd have someone come out, and now it's new match.
You mean Alexa? You mean like we're going to get to here in a little bit? Yeah.
So those things bug me more. But this one I loved. I thought the match was great.
I did too.
They followed it up with they had the dope match. I think Samoa Joe's looking badass right now.
Yep.
I think that the Viking Raiders look cool. They look strong right now. They beat the New Day.
Yep.
That's a big deal. New Day is one of the big, one of the strongest teams in the company right now. Or at least most of those over teams in the company.
Yeah.
So I think it was a big deal all around. I also think that Viking Raiders having that little pairing with Samoa Joe, made them feel more villainous.
Yeah.
It just made them feel like badder dudes.
Now they're heels.
Now they felt like heels.
100%.
They didn't feel like heels before. Last night they felt like heels, which
it felt like they didn't know which way they were going to go with them, just showing their brutality, and now they're fully heels.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I thought that they felt like heels last night, and this was kind of like the best presentation of them so far. I felt like, because they weren't like, it wasn't like this confusing thing.
And it felt at times like an ECW match. So I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the idea of using each other as weapons against it, they really leaned into it more so than I've ever seen in any other match they've done on the Raw roster. Like they're using each other and throwing each other in certain to certain positions in certain places to inflict damage on their opponents. I like that. They made good use of that. That's an interesting new angle on a tag team that I haven't seen before. Usually they have one or two moves that they use each other for. These guys had like 5 or 6.
Viking Raiders?
Yeah, the Viking
they have
Raiders.
so many.
It was
of them.
fantastic.
Yeah, I'm glad they were able to showcase some of them more than they've been able to so far. Because this was a better use of them than a squash match, definitely.
And just when we were getting too brutal, well, I mean, what I do like is Kofi also didn't tap out. That was a great way to keep him champion. Always. Pass out's better than tap out. Always. That's how it works. And so it keeps him champion. And I think this is going to be a fun match between these guys when it happens. Yeah.
I also liked just randomly Corey Graves throwing it out there that it's going to be a ladder match.
Yeah.
I was like,
it's nothing. Like it's no big deal. Yeah.
I loved it because it was like, then they were getting excited about rumors. Like he was like, oh, it's just a rumor or whatever. And then like on commentary, they were like getting excited about a quote unquote rumor. And I was like, oh. So they're allowed to get excited over rumors, but when we as fans get excited about rumors, it's like, oh, just sit and wait to see how it plays out.
Right. We haven't been handed our marching orders to say that. So,
but I do think ladder match between those two could be badass.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be fantastic.
I love Samoa Joe and I love Kofi Kingston, and I actually think that that really has potential to steal the show.
Oh yeah.
And I know I say that about most Samoa Joe matches because I do think that he is like a show-stealing guy that doesn't get as much love as he should.
He's surprisingly nimble for a big guy still at this age. And he puts over these matches in such great ways. You look forward to it. So I'm excited to see what happens with him and Kofi. It's going to be fun.
I need him to get a new hairdo, though.
You need him to get a new hairdo?
And I'm not one to talk because I'm always weird with my hair.
That works. It works.
His hair's all, have you noticed his hair's all over the place lately?
Well, man, I mean, does he look like a guy who cares what people think about
that's kind of why it works.
Yeah, that's why it works. Joe doesn't give a shit. That's why Joe's going to kill you. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, don't tell him I said that.
That's right. Let's move on here. Just when we're getting a little too brutal, let's throw some comedy into the mix, and that's the No Way Jose. R-Truth comes out with No Way Jose is going to face Cesaro for some reason. No Way Jose getting a little shot there on the main show here. R-Truth comes out with him, then eventually you see Drake Maverick with his wife there.
Well,
pretty
first,
upset.
didn't they have the backstage thing first with Drake Maverick?
Oh, yeah. Well, okay.
Dude, the fact that they brought his wife onto the show now, Drake Maverick's wife.
Is she a WWE person?
Well, she was
in the Mae Young
Classic. She was an independent wrestler. She was in the Mae Young Classic.
So is she signed by WWE or no?
Although it wouldn't surprise me now if they put her into something because clearly
it's certainly an angle.
Clearly they're getting her involved now. They're into this. I loved when they were backstage and she had the blindfold on.
Yeah.
And he's like acting like they're on their honeymoon or whatever. And then she takes it off and it's like, oh, no. Here, meet Dana Brooke or whatever. Oh, I loved it. And then when R-Truth came out and was standing there and then started singing, Great.
Yeah.
Great stuff. And then her being like, oh, do you care more about me than the 24/7 title more than me? And he was all conflicted. Like, no, I won't go after it. Yeah. So then I love that their honeymoon consists of sitting front row at a WWE show afterwards to like make her feel better about the situation. And then all this starts to unfold. And when R-Truth, when he laid over the guardrail and was like doing his thing in front of the wife, I was dying. Yeah. Honestly, this has been such a joy.
Oh, yeah.
A joy. Yeah. The Drake Maverick wedding, Truth stuff, all of it. So good.
It was so smart because just before it got stale, they threw a new thing into it. And before the Maverick thing gets too stale, they're going to throw something else into it, you hope, because that's going to keep this thing alive, being one step ahead of people worrying about it being too stale. But yeah, and then eventually, they get chased around the ring, or R-Truth, gets chased around the ring, everybody runs away, and Drake Maverick is just like kind of sad, conflicted, not knowing what to do, and not know because he wants to go after him, but he can't because his wife is there, but he really wants to, and he's just kind of sitting there all like distracted, and then Cesaro ends up absolutely destroying No Way Jose. So
yeah.
I guess I was wrong. Maybe there was a squash match because that was essentially a squash match. Absolute destruction.
But that's all you needed. Honestly, I like the way that they are weaving the 24/7 title zombie train of people into matches. Into like what's like. Would you have really cared about watching Cesaro versus No Way Jose for a few minutes?
No.
That was going to end just like that segment ended, or instead you throw in all this insanity to make it feel better.
Well, that's why you book that match. You book that match so you can attach it to the 24/7, right? Because normally Cesaro should be fighting somebody else way better than No Way Jose, or at least a little more cachet than No Way Jose. Speaking of cachet, the NXT Tag Team Champions going backstage were there last night. Street Profits were being interviewed by Charlie. No, that fam, he starts doing that rock thing. He says, nah, fam, that ain't what we doing. Then we want the smoke. We want the smoke. So that was awesome to see them doing it. Immediately, like they seem like they belong immediately. So this will be interesting to see how much more they lean into it, but I'm excited. They come back a little later with Heyman, but did you like this intro for them?
So, okay, first of all, I missed it. I must have been looking at my phone for a brief second or talking to my girlfriend while watching Raw. Apparently, earlier in the show, I want to say during the opening segment, there was like an accidental brief flash on the screen where it cut to another camera backstage on accident. Okay. And they had Street Profits just standing there backstage. And so everyone was like, well, guess Street Profits are going to be on the show now. So you didn't catch that either.
No, I didn't catch it.
I didn't either, but I saw people talking about it. And I saw the picture or whatever. But still, loved it. I agree with you. They 100% looked like they should be there, from the get-go. And I feel like that's so important. Yeah. And honestly, they were probably ready character-wise to be on the roster almost maybe close to a year ago.
Wow.
But when they went to Evolve, they really kind of like became renewed in the ring. And I don't know is that kind of like indie style kind of influenced them a little bit, but they had a little run in Evolve, and then went back to NXT, and that run in Evolve changed their in-ring. I mean, they were already fun to watch in the ring, like a Heavy Machinery is fun to watch in the ring, but they went from like fun to watch in the ring to like, these guys are great wrestlers. And they were, Angelo Dawkins has been in the system for a long time. I think he's been in there since like 2012. I remember the old days of NXT when he was like, had like kind of like a Kanye West. Yeah. Not crazy Kanye West. That's how long ago it was. The kind of like graduation era Kanye West with the glasses and everything. And so he's been there for a while. But I honestly believe that these guys are going to be a big deal on the roster. I think that
as long as they don't play the cliche stuff.
Well, here's the thing. I think actually Montez Ford won't play for that. I think that Montez Ford and Bianca Belair seem like role model types. They are very much like empowerment, of the culture. And I do not see them falling into that trap. If anything, I see Montez Ford, and I tweeted this last night, I honestly see Montez Ford being WWE champion within 3 to 5 years. Wow. That's how much I think that he because even you said, looks like he's supposed to be there. And you don't always say that about someone when they come from NXT. But Montez Ford, every time I've seen him on the mic, every time I've seen him on camera,
he controls it.
He controls it, but not only that, he what's the word I'm looking for? He basically he just owns the screen.
Yep.
When you see him, like he makes you want to watch him.
He's got that it factor.
He has that it factor.
Yeah,
and it's not even just charisma. No. It's not even just good in the ring.
The whole
he
package.
literally has that it factor where you're like, that guy is a superstar.
Yep.
And I feel the same way when I see Bianca Belair too. But I truly believe that he has that it factor that is going to lead him to the top. That just, empowerment, everything. I really believe that he has a chance. So I don't think that Street Profits are going to go in that direction. I don't think they're going to be Crime Time 2019. I think they're going to try to be. I think they're going to be the opposite of that.
Good.
And if anyone can lead them to that, I think it's Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman might be, an older Jew from New York or whatever, but he keeps it real. Like Paul Heyman has always made sure that he doesn't. He's not the kind of guy who's only listening to oldies, He's checking out what's going on out there. Like he's keeping his ear to the street. Like he is involved. He knows what pop culture is talking about. And if anyone can kind of lead them to be a big deal on Raw, I do believe that it's Paul Heyman. So I'm pumped for this. And I thought when they came out after they had that brief interaction with Paul, it was fantastic.
That was great.
I
Paul
loved
was
it.
Scared. It was.
And since we're talking about it now, I loved how the show, it was like things happening, and everyone's like, oh man, Paul Heyman. Everyone was in their head being like, oh, Paul Heyman's killing it. Yeah, fuck yeah, Paul Heyman. Day one's killing it. He's killing it. And you're like, everyone's thinking, yeah. And then they kind of like worked you up to a fever pitch. And then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, Street Profits. Yeah, this, yeah, that. And then all of a sudden like Paul Heyman pops his head on camera and everyone was like, yeah, he's the one doing this. Yeah. So I loved it. I really thought this episode of Raw was great. And that moment with Paul Heyman, I love the way they kind of like worked up to it. Yeah. I really think Street Profits, I saw someone tweet me this, and I'm sorry if you watch the show and I don't call out your name because I don't have time to pull it up here, but I saw someone tweet to me that they're looking forward to when Street Profits inevitably has a feud with Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan, and Daniel Bryan's pissed about the solo cups. Yeah. The red solo cup that they come to the ring with or whatever. So I'm excited for that. I also, it's crazy. Look, as optimistic as I am, I can't help but think on the other side of this as well and go, okay, I'm excited for Street Profits, right? But bigger picture here, one, why do they keep doing this to NXT? Like, the Street Profits just won the tag titles. Yeah. Every time someone like wins the tag titles,
it's a farm league, man. That's what it is.
I know, but it's like right.
But not every time.
It's been almost every time. Like Viking Raiders were champions, they got pulled away.
What you're saying. You mean tag teams?
Tag teams. Tag teams.
Right.
Viking Raiders were tag team champions. Yeah. They got pulled away. Yeah. Now they keep pulling away the tag champions and bringing them up, and I think that it kind of messes with the whole tag team division. But obviously Triple H is good at working his way out of it. But also I go, let's see, Viking Raiders was a couple months ago now, and they're just barely finally getting a good presentation of them on TV. So I am a little nervous in that aspect because it's like every team they keep taking up from NXT, they don't really take too seriously, or they kind of like.
But I think they've
sanity.
Yeah, but I think they've figured it out with Heavy Machinery, Viking Raiders, and now with Street Profits. If they get this right, then you start to see a trend turning in a different way. Maybe they learned from the Ascension mistakes. Maybe they learned from the other tag teams they brought up and like, okay, we need to do it this way. We need to put this together. Yes, did the Viking thing almost crash and burn by calling it the Viking experience? Yes, but I think this is why you have someone like Heyman and Bischoff in charge at that spot, because it helps to avoid these kinds of mistakes, hopefully for the most part. And I'm looking forward to a New Day Street Profits battle. That would be fantastic.
That's gonna be great.
Yeah, right. And then Big E turns and becomes a member of the Street Profits.
Why do you keep wanting Big E to turn? Next topic.
We'll get to a turn. I predicted it later on in the show.
That's the first. It's the first thing I thought of when it happened. Oh, Rocha's gonna rub my face in this like I'm a dog who just pooped in carpet.
All right, let's move on. This dog and poop carpet. That's Shane McMahon and McIntyre. They did a promo about Reigns and the Undertaker, talking about how, give credit to Taker for surprising him, a back and forth, what they're going to do to Reigns, what they're going to do to Taker, blah, blah, blah. And then Taker comes out. Oh, man, Taker did a great promo. I saw some people complaining that it was the same thing he's done before. Okay, fine, but he does it so damn well. Hogan did the same thing for 10 years. Flair did the same thing for 20 years. That's all right. It works. It works. The woo was 20 years.
I was with you on a lot of that, but you can't say Ric Flair had the same promo over 20 years.
Yes, he did. It always works. Start out like this. Woo, what do you do? Woo, woo, I'm out. That's all it is. Hogan, The Rock. Well, you know something, brother. And Stone Cold, let me tell you, blah, blah, blah. It's all the same. Undertaker comes out,
Did you just say The Rock and Ric Flair's promos are all the same?
To themselves. Like, their promos are exactly them. So people were complaining about Taker doing this thing. Taker did the exact same thing he always does, which works. And that was
Taker's
perfect.
saying the exact same word. This is different. Just because they have similar
styles is what I'm getting at. That's it. His promo was his style, and it completely worked, which is why I don't understand people were bitching about it online, saying it was kind of underwhelming promo. I thought it was a great promo, considering the promos he's delivered the last few months. This was fucking good. You want to battle? You may be the best in this world. Okay. I love that.
Oh, okay, so here's the deal.
That was new.
Like, I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I do think that it could be perceived as boring from those who maybe aren't huge Undertaker marks.
You okay?
Who aren't like already like, they just inject that Undertaker soul talk into my veins.
Yeah,
you
but
know,
I've been critical of the Undertaker.
No. I'm not saying you haven't, but you're also like,
I'm balanced, man.
But you're also an old school Undertaker fan.
Yeah,
like
sure.
You've liked Undertaker for a long time.
Sure.
My girlfriend, for example, was kind of standing there like, what's this cheesy stuff he's saying, you know? So,
well, stand in front of Mark and say that.
Right?
He'll scare you.
And that's why I'm somewhere in the middle, because like I love that classic Undertaker stuff. You don't get it all the time. So when Undertaker's talking about digging holes and taking souls and you know, all that kind of stuff, fire and brimstone and all that kind of stuff, like I'm into it. Like whatever, it's Undertaker,
It's
you know?
great. That's what I'm
his thing.
saying.
That's what he does.
That's his thing.
And also, he gets me once the lightning thing happens. I didn't even care about anything else he said. He did the lightning thing. They had that happen where the lightning came down and struck the ring. I love when they do that. It looks cool. It's a fun visual for, not for the people there, but for the people watching at home. It's a fun visual. And so when that happens, I'm like, oh, old school Undertaker's back.
Yes.
I'm into this. And so I'm just cool watching. Like I just take that for what it is, because I don't think Undertaker has ever been like a quote unquote promo guy.
No.
You know, he comes in, he does his dark things, and he talks real ominously.
Right.
And it's slow, just like his entrance. And it's like, and it's whatever. It's what Undertaker does, but I like it. You know, like that's who Undertaker is. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's fair to compare the promos of the Undertaker to the Rock and The Rock and Ric Flair,
They all
who
have
are the best promo guys of all time.
Sure, but they all have their same styles, and those styles are
yes,
good.
but Ric
That's what I'm getting
Flair,
at.
every promo is different. That's why you can just search Ric Flair promo on YouTube and be busy for hours.
Does he get excited in every promo?
Yes. The Rock
Everyone
does. The
does
Rock
a
switches
style.
it up. The Rock has funny, serious.
The Rock never loses it. The Rock is always pretending like he's in charge of the situation when he does his promos.
Yeah.
He's got a charming condescension to his promos.
Yes.
Every single promo has a charming condescension.
Yes.
Hogan's the people's champion when he did it. He always felt like he was the people's
Well, all
champion.
Hogan promos feel the same.
Right.
That I'm not going to argue with you on.
Okay.
They do. He had a formula. He did.
They all have a formula.
Well, I'm just saying that Ric Flair and The Rock are the best promos of all time, so it's not fair to make it sound like they formulate promos.
Warrior, because you never know what you were going to get. That was the best.
This promo from Undertaker did feel like it was written by Dana Warrior a little bit, where it was like talking about, it was like, she was like, what are things my husband used to say? Okay.
I'm going to take you in the plane.
Yeah, exactly.
There'll be no pilot. What?
But I think that, they did a good job of explaining why Undertaker wants to help Roman Reigns here.
Exactly. Yeah, so Romans ain't that kind of guy to ask my help. I did it.
Yep.
I love
and it was
that.
like, you had my respect because of the whole WrestleMania match, all that kind of thing. I liked it, you know?
Me too.
I didn't love them pulling Drew McIntyre away. I would have loved just to let Drew McIntyre and Undertaker go at it. I think that would have maybe been a little bit more effective, but also I think they need to explain why Undertaker's there too.
Exactly.
I was trying to figure out which one I felt more important, like Drew and Undertaker having beef, or Undertaker explaining why he's injecting himself here. And they're both important, so I'm good with it.
We got Extreme Rules coming up, right? That's the next one?
Yep.
Hold on.
That's July
14th.
14th.
July 14th. It's coming up, so you need more time to build. So that's why I think you don't have them fight just yet. But it will come. It will happen. Also, Undertaker's old. You don't want to put him in the ring too much.
Also a good point.
All right, let's move on to Lacey Evans. She took on Natty with Baron Corbin at her side. Look, this is a good match. All right, I get it. It's fine. It pushes her. But if you need to cheat to beat Natty, you're not selling me that you should have the title. Let me just put that out there. Again, no offense to Natty, but to me, you don't. If you got to cheat to beat Natty, I get it. You're a heel, blah 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 blah. But other heels get clean pins. She could have gotten a clean pin. It would have reinforced the situation. I don't think you needed Corbin to cheat by dragging Natty's feet that way. So I had a little bit of an issue with that. Because I think it undercuts Lacey. You don't need to undercut Lacey. Lacey is fucking killing it right now.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I think clean win would have been totally fine. I do think that this match was good, though. I think that they did a good job.
Natty had some great moves.
Yeah. I think Lacey did a good job of showing why they have faith in her.
Yes, absolutely.
What do you think about them adding the Extreme Rules stipulation to the match at Extreme Rules?
It makes sense. You got to go to the next level with those two. There's a lot of, I don't know how real the beef is, but it feels authentic when you see them going at each other. So you got to one up the game. If you're going to bring them back again, you got to one up the situation, right? She's essentially replaced Charlotte in having multiple matches against Becky. So you've got to change the stakes of the matches every single time to make them interesting, to make them worth something. So you want to watch and see what happens. And if she loses, then you've got something to excuse or to blame on it, right? An Extreme Rules match, which means Corbin can interfere. And so can Rollins, which means Rollins will probably
No, they're both in the match.
Oh, it's
winner takes all, winners take all.
Yes, you're right. I'm sorry.
For both titles?
I guess what I'm trying to say is like one of them is going to mess up the other one.
They did a good job. Where are we on your list? Okay, they did a good job of playing that up later with that promo that we'll get to in a minute with Becky and Seth. I did a good job of selling the uncertainty of one of you could lose your title without even actually being pinned. And it wasn't even like in a four-way match. It was like your girlfriend or your boyfriend got pinned and ruined messed with your career. I love that. They're selling that well.
Times. Yeah, Corey mentioned it a few times throughout the broadcast. Whenever they brought it up, that they were going to have a fight later on, it could affect things. And Renee pushed back. So,
Which was good. I know that was smart. I think that it does sell the match better, I think.
Are they still dating, her and Moxley? Are they married?
Renee?
Yeah. They're married?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they've been married for a while.
I would love to hear what she thinks about what's going on with him at AEW and all the shit he's taking. Because those are old school bumps he's taking, man. I'm worried for him. I really am, because I love him so much as a wrestler.
Did you watch Fyter Fest?
Dude, the stuff he took.
It was intense.
I was like, come on. Man, come on. He wants to have a career after this federation, for God's sakes. Yeah, he's got a wife.
He definitely took it to the extreme. I saw a funny meme online. I think it was... I forget exactly who posted it, but it was just like, it was a gif of Renee like looking like unhappy, and it was like when Moxley comes home and asks if she watched she watched Fyter Fest, and it's just her looking like,
yeah, I watched it.
I mean, it was good, but I honestly felt like they could have started at a lower level between the two of them and worked their way up to that 6 months from now. But
it was weird
because now I'm where do they go from there?
That's what concerns me about how the WWE is reacting. If AEW reacts in the extreme to counter that, it could end up messing them. You don't want to blow your wad right off the bat overall too consistently, because then the fans go, all right, and the second you don't meet that level in the next one, then the fans will walk away. Yeah. And that's a danger. Keep doing keep building. Let the WWE do what they're doing. Keep building what you're building. People will come if you build something good, And
it's the whole Field of Dreams method,
Yeah, that's right. That's what they say. All right, Elias says, we get Miz in the back talking with, who's the blonde again? I always forget the blonde.
Sarah Schreiber.
Yeah, Sarah Schreiber. A good, quick promo, and then in and out, and then gone to the ring. Interrupts Elias. They get into a 2 out of 3 falls match. This was great. I really enjoyed this. And Elias finally got to unleash a little bit, and I was excited by this. I don't know if it's Heyman. I don't know if it's him just being allowed to do it. I don't know what it is, but he was great in this match. And although Miz got the win in the 2 out of 3 falls, I still think Elias showed out really well in this match.
Can I be honest with you?
Okay.
I took a shower during this match.
What? Why?
And then as we were starting, I was like, oh, I forgot to rewatch Elias versus The Miz. Oh, man. Was it really that different than the other 2 out of 3 falls matches they've had the past week and a half or whatever?
Elias was way more into it.
Okay.
He was guttural in his yelling. He took a massive knee hit to the ring post that was so believable. There was so much he was throwing himself into this match. And maybe he senses that this is like one of these, like he has to make it work right now, or he's going to end up with No Way Jose for the rest of his career.
since there have been like 2 out of 3 falls matches with Elias and Miz, I've been doing this new thing where I'm trying to work out while watching Raw and SmackDown and NXT so that I like.
That's good.
It's like, well, it's better than sitting there tweeting.
True.
And just scrolling my phone. I'm paying more attention, so I have better opinions here during the show. Maybe lose a little bit of weight in the process.
Okay.
And honestly, you know, sometimes like I'm at the gym and I just get over it if I try and go to the gym. But you know what? Watching like people who are really in shape,
of course,
doing something physical while I'm working out, it kind of like inspires me to keep going.
You kidding?
So I'm like, oh, you know, these guys are doing massive cardio right now. Like, I'll just keep running and keep doing push-ups and stuff or whatever and sit-ups or whatever. And so I've been so I was like, I just finished, and then I was like, do I take a shower right now? And then it was like, next up, The Miz versus Elias in a 2 out of 3 falls match. And I was like, yeah, I saw this already a couple times. This is the perfect opportunity. And so I literally got in when the match was started and got out right when it finished. So I will be honest, I missed this. So we can use this opportunity to instead discuss something important that we were discussing right before we started. And it's not wrestling related, but is Silence of the Lambs really a horror movie?
Of course it's a horror movie. It's a serial killer.
Like, because I watched Silence of the Lambs for the first time this weekend, so these are very old takes. But I'm not a big horror movie guy.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I never watched it because I was like, man, I don't really care about horror movies. And then I watched this movie and I was like, this is like a psychological thriller.
Sure.
This isn't a horror movie.
It's a psychological, but it is a horror movie in the fact that there is a serial killer.
Like, he's a horrific character because he is a man. Hector.
Yeah, but
I call him Hector.
Hector, yeah.
Dr. Hector, Dr. Hannibal Lecter.
Hannibal Hector.
That's a good Halloween costume.
I'm going to eat your face. But like you got this, and I can do that. I'm Latino, so
yeah,
kiss
I know,
my
so
ass.
I was thinking it.
Kiss my ass. But I like this situation. I mean, I like that you don't ever see him do anything. You never see him.
Well, you see that one.
You see Buffalo Bill do everything.
No, you see him bite the cop's face.
Right, exactly. That is horrific.
Yeah.
And you get like he is hanging like the angel of death.
Yeah.
On that, so it's incredible the visual of that.
Yeah.
But the calmness with which he does it is the horror.
Yeah, totally.
And then homie throwing people in the pits so that he can change sexes.
That's
wild.
a horror. Yeah.
So it's a horror movie, but it's just a higher echelon horror movie.
Yeah, it was weird when I was watching that. I was thinking, God, like this movie can never be made in 2019 just because of like the whole trans issues and like, for so many reasons. Exactly.
So many reasons.
But yeah, crazy movie. Like I was like, and it's funny.
The book's even better.
It's funny. Really?
Oh yeah.
It's funny to watch a movie that is so ingrained in pop culture.
Yeah.
30 years after it came out or whatever, and be like, oh, that's what everyone's talking about and all these things.
Did it hold up? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
See, there you go. And that's the mark of a classic.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it.
30 years later, you still enjoy it.
And I knew so many of the things that were going to come up, like the fava beans, or I'm having a friend for dinner, or it puts the skin on the lotion. Like, I'd heard all those things, but to like see how they were put together, I was like, oh, now I get all this. Yeah. Now I got to see the sequels.
No,
don't.
You don't.
My girlfriend made it seem like they're good.
No, your girlfriend's wrong. The problem with your girlfriend is she's been working out a lot and losing weight, looking great. So she's got the endorphins. They're messing with her judgment. Everything is great because she's so happy about herself.
Well, she loves serial killers. So.
Okay.
So she's like one of who was obsessed with serial killers.
Did she watch Manhunter on Netflix? Tell her to watch the Manhunter series. It's a David Fincher series exploring the first guy who labeled what serial killers were in the 50s.
Oh, okay, yeah, totally.
And he went interviews all these serial killers in the prisons.
Oh, cool.
It's an awesome series.
I'll tell her to watch it.
10-episode series.
She's always looking for something new to watch.
Tell her she'll love it.
Back to wrestling.
Back to wrestling and serial killers. Rollins and Becky took on Maria.
At least it wasn't the Hills this time.
That's true. It wasn't the Hills. I think God, people got mad about that.
I saw it.
What's wrong with y'all? Rollins. Guess what? We're talking about a reality show right now. Okay, so Rollins and Becky. They had that promo in the back talking about everything and what they're gonna have, what's gonna happen, and go.
Which was a little cheesy before Mike and Maria came in.
Which is why they're laying the groundwork. This is gonna break up.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think 100%. That whole part where it was like, oh, a little too chummy, a little too boyfriend and girlfriend. You're like, the wrestling fan is like, oh, I want to see them break up. I want to see them lose the title now, because the fans are gonna be so mad if he's not champion. Just the way it could play out. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm kind of rooting for Baron Corbin. I'm actually rooting for Lacey to be the one that pins Becky somehow.
Yeah.
Just because I want to watch everyone burn down. The fact that Baron Corbin became Universal Champion because Lacey pinned someone, it's going to be great. Wrestling Twitter, it's going to be at an all-time high.
True. Very true. Maria and Mike Kanellis interrupt them, and then there's a match set up there. Then they go down to the ring. I know Paul Heyman booked this situation, and you have Maria and Mike Kanellis being a part of this. Apparently, Maria's friends with Paul, and Paul has said before that he really respects Maria's mind as a story person. But this was terrible to me. If people loved it, I respect people liking it. I thought it was horrific to bring two people who hadn't been on the main roster at all. Maria, who hadn't looked good in any of her matches, any of those Battle Royal matches. Mike hasn't done much at all. To make them in service of the two champs of their divisions, I was shocked by this. To push some stupid pregnancy storyline. This is the one moment in the show that I was like, oh, this is ridiculous.
So here's the thing. It's not necessarily that I loved or hated this segment.
Yeah.
What I enjoyed about this segment and whatever is going on with this, I enjoyed they're trying something. Like, to me, safe is the worst thing you can be.
Sure.
And safe is just like, it's just what Raw has become. So, like, there's never anything that's like, that's just like, what is happening anymore? Like, sometimes, I shouldn't say never, but it's not as often. And I felt like this, whatever it is, was wild. Like, first it started with her calling Mike her bitch.
Yeah.
And then, the whole...
It's too much ECW for the main roster.
See, I disagree.
I thought it was.
And I can see that. Yeah. And I can see that. From what I had heard, I broke the story a few weeks ago when Mike and Maria re-signed with WWE.
Yep, I remember
and at the time, I was told by a source, literally the same day, I was told by a source that there was an angle that had been pitched that would be like some sort of like cuckold angle. If you're a child watching this, do not Google that. Just know it's an adult thing.
And we're sorry for cussing through this whole. If you're watching this as a child, go ahead.
And if you're an adult watching this and you don't know what it is, you probably don't need to Google it either.
Read Shakespeare. Just a joke. Just saying. Just a joke.
Read Shakespeare.
It's all over Shakespeare.
Yeah. So I had heard there was going to be a cuckold angle. There had been a cuckold angle pitched with these two.
Yep.
And I never thought that it would see the light of day on TV. I was like, oh, okay, whatever, because I get said that stuff passed to me all the time. Oh, this thing got pitched, or that thing got pitched. Like, oh, okay.
Right.
But fast forward a few weeks, and now she's on TV calling him a bitch. Then she says she's pregnant. Well, she gets out on on the mic, no, don't hit me, I'm pregnant or whatever. And then she starts like berating Mike and saying that he's not man enough, that she doesn't think he was man enough to even have impregnated her, and all this stuff. So it seems like that's maybe the direction they're going,
and that's great, and that's fine. But nobody gives a shit about these two, and nobody cares. And
but that's not fair to say because, and you're right,
the fans were bored. The what chance broke out almost immediately. She took the mic.
But that's not. But then you might as well not try and give everyone on the card a chance, because I do think.
No. I do think you don't have to go an extreme the other way. I think there are people that deserve chances. I don't think they deserve chances.
Fair.
That's my opinion.
But I mean, would you really prefer to see Cedric Alexander in a cuckold angle instead?
Cedric Alexander, no. But Drake would be interesting.
Well, I was worried they were going that direction this week, but
you're right. I mean, we'll see how it plays out.
I just like that they're trying different things across.
Right
like, for example, you know what? People probably hated the whole dick chopping thing back in the day with Val Venus, but you never forgot it. And people still to this day don't forget it.
I didn't hate it. I thought that was fun.
I love it. Choppy Choppy was one of the things that I still laugh about. I'm sorry. Sometimes I'm a child.
Disagree.
And Choppy Choppy was hilarious.
Professor Wrestling. You're allowed to be a child.
Exactly. And so if that's why I looked at it with this, I go like, this does lend itself to funny moments. If they're gonna make Maria being pregnant a storyline for 9 months and they go a possible cucking angle, think of like they could end that. It could be a hand birth level moment.
But those are one of the worst. That's one of the worst storylines.
Is the birth of hand one of the worst storylines?
It is. I'm going to go on Aaron Turner's podcast. Now I've decided that's going to be the storyline I'm complaining about. Who booked this? That's what I will say.
It was stupid.
Thank you.
But it's also one of the most memorable things that's happened in WWE.
Yeah, but not in a good way.
Not in a bad way.
A lot of people would disagree with you, including me. That was bad. The birth of hand was bad. Like
I was a child.
It was like Hornswoggle, Vince McMahon's son, bad. It was bad.
Another one.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
No, but I just it's one of those things where it's like, it's so stupid that you never forget it, and it's not, but it's so stupid that you're like, to me, it's like you're in on the joke, stupid.
Did you like the Shockmaster too?
No, that's not the same.
That was stupid
That's not the
and
same.
definitely memorable.
No, because that was like a huge mistake. He falls. They were doing a serious build. They got a guy in a stormtrooper mask. Different, very different in my opinion.
Right.
But I don't know. I already said online. Come on, you don't think it'd be hilarious if they dragged this pregnancy thing out for 9 months?
Nope.
And then when she goes and gives birth. And she's been doing this thing where she's like, they're making it seem like it was another guy's child the whole time,
right.
Or another guy that she was with. She gives birth to a hand, the other hand. We've already got a right hand. Now we get the left hand or whatever. Yeah. And then Mark Henry walks in the delivery room and says like, that's what I do. And then Mike has to leave and he's never seen again.
No. None of that sounds appealing to me at all. I respect and I appreciate you, brother, but none of that sounds appealing to me at all because I don't think these two are personalities that people are going to care about. I certainly don't.
That's not fair. Maria was in Playboy. Maria is famous.
Yeah, she was. That was 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, but she's a personality.
She hasn't done anything since, really.
But they really haven't used her since she came back.
There's a reason for that.
No, well, I don't think that it's lack of charisma. Okay. I don't think that it's lack of entertainment.
Okay, all right.
I think it's a lot of
I think we're going to find out.
She was pregnant when she came in.
Right. But I think we're going to find out.
We will definitely find out.
When the fans go and
Unless they give up on this 2 weeks later like they did with Robert Roode.
It's certainly, right. Good point.
He doesn't even have his mustache anymore.
Where's Lars?
Injured.
Okay. All right. God, already?
I know.
God damn it.
Bummer. I know.
We love you here, Lars.
Yeah, like 6 to 9 months.
Dude.
That was at 69 months.
We love you here, Lars. Get better, man. Sorry. That sucks. I didn't know that. All right. Let's move on. Paul Heyman, we talked about it already. Oh, yeah, we had a moment of bliss. She's out there with Nikki. Carmella comes out, interrupts, causes a battle. They go into the fight, and Carmella destroys her quickly. And then we go to the break, and Nikki now all of a sudden challenges Carmella. A little bit of a longer match, but then Nikki gets the victory. Some people like this. I didn't like this too much. I thought it was just like, what's the point of it? Unless you're going to start, because I mean, I think it's Bayley and Alexa and Nikki. Why is Carmella getting involved in it? Unless you're setting up a tag team match. I don't know. But Alexa's supposed to fight Bayley for the title because Nikki won it. So why are you setting this up at all?
Agreed. I feel like it devalues Alexa unnecessarily, even though Carmella is a contender. And it's not like to say that like losing to Carmella is a bad thing.
No, not at all.
That.
But that quickly is kind of
that quickly. Yeah. And in the build to a title match.
Yes.
You know, and I get they're trying to get over the fact that Alexa didn't earn her title match. Nikki did. And that's why people want Nikki, in the title match. Right. It feels like that's the direction they're going.
Yeah,
so
they're going to fight eventually.
Yeah, so I didn't hate it. I mean, it does seem like Nikki's going to be the one to win the title, and then Alexa turns on her.
Oh, yeah?
And then she's jealous that Nikki, she wasn't a real friend and all that kind of thing. That's the way it feels like it's going now.
Yeah, because Nikki defeated Carmella and Alexa was celebrating like she had won.
Yes.
So that's how you lay the groundwork.
And same when Charlie said something backstage to her about it, and then it was like, no, get out of here. Listen to that.
Right.
Seems like that's where they're going.
Charlie. All right, the 24/7 chase kicks up one last time, all the way out into the back of the stadium there. Drake Maverick. R-Truth goes right by Drake. Drake's standing there.
No, it was even better than that. It was the whole train of people went running by Drake. And then when he's all sad watching them run by, and then R-Truth like popped out from like a corner or whatever where he had been hiding. I loved it. It
was great. And then R-Truth turns his back on on Drake, and Drake hits him in the back with his carry-on. I don't know what he's got carrying.
After saying that he wasn't going to care about the 24/7 title.
And then he's like,
she was more important.
Yeah, that's right. Then he hits her in the back with a carry-on. I don't know what he's got to carry on. A referee pops out of nowhere, does the pin, and then he says, see, we got our hunt now. We can celebrate this 24/7, our honeymoon. Let's get out of here. And they take off. So R-Truth loses the belt to Drake.
Setting up lots of quality honeymoon content.
I guess Drake's going to pop out. I mean, R-Truth's going to pop out.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
This is going to be great.
I mean, either it's at the airport, but they already did the airport. So the airport's been done.
Yeah.
I feel like it's got to be at a resort.
Honeymoon suite.
Yeah, it's got to be at a resort or honeymoon suite, like him on the beach or like, something like that, like laying out and he falls asleep, like tanning, and then
if they're
R-Truth pins him.
If they're smart, they do it from far away on the beach where his wife turns around and sees R-Truth walking up to Drake, and she's like, no! And then you see the cameraman running with her, and then R-Truth does the pin, and boom, takes off with the belt. By the time she gets there, and Drake's like, what happened? They're going to do it all over the place.
Or it's like right before he goes parasailing, so then like he gets pinned, and then the boat takes off, so he's like, no, and Truth can just run away with the title belt as Drake's like in the oh, no!
with the camera like a GoPro on the guy. That'd be brilliant. Brilliant. Oh my God, brilliant.
But
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm very excited for whatever they do because it's going to be quality content. I love how I feel like every wrestling fan right now that watches Raw is dying for a woman to win the 24/7 title. First it was Carmella, and everyone's like, Carmella's gonna pin R-Truth. It's gotta happen. And last night, I thought before Drake hit R-Truth with his carry-on, since the wife was in the bathroom, I thought for sure when they were talking, when Drake and Truth were talking, that she was gonna roll up R-Truth and Drake's wife was gonna become the 24/7 champion, because that would have been fun too, where they're on honeymoon and Drake's sad because he can't pin the 24/7 champion.
Or he does pin
the 24/7 title and his wife,
it's the whole
and they're
honeymoon
mad the whole time. I would have liked that too.
I think that's gonna happen.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I like all of this. Yeah. So yeah, I loved it last night.
I loved if R-Truth came up with some line or some word. He's like, I'm not getting involved with these two or something like that, you know.
Y'all crazy. I'm out here.
Right. All right, let's move back to some real wrestling. AJ Styles taking on Ricochet, last match of the evening. This was interesting. Great back and forth between these guys in the ring. A lot of interesting moves. AJ gets the pin supposedly out of nowhere for some random reason. We replay the match.
No, he had the foot.
Yeah, right. But I mean, the ref coming in all of a sudden replay. That, you know, we see pins where feet are on the ropes all the time and don't get overturned. So this was overturned for the storyline of it. Eventually, Ricochet did that move off AJ's chest with his feet. Holy Mary, Mother of God. He pulled out all the stops here. And then Gallows and Anderson had come down. They were watching the whole thing. Then AJ ends up losing it. And then Gallows and Anderson step up on the ring to look at AJ. AJ stops him. We think we're going to have NWO where Hogan and Rock teamed up against the Outsiders, I thought for a second. And then AJ turns and beats up Ricochet, and then does the Styles Clash off the top rope, which was
sick,
incredible.
I yelped. I'm like, don't do that! It hurt him. Like,
it was fantastic.
I think that you called it from the get. You called it that they were going to go that direction. That they were starting the setup of heel AJ. I'm into it. I think that
it's perfect.
He played it up well. The Bullet Club were assholes. So if they can do an actual Bullet Club in WWE, like the Club for real.
They'll just call it the Club.
The Club, but you know, and I know they
because Corey called it that.
Yeah. That's what they call it, and I love it. I loved what they did last night. The Styles Clash on the top rope definitely had an extra like oomph to it. You know, in order for it to feel different than what they did a few years ago with the whole beat up John Cena stuff. In order for it to feel different from that, they got to bring Finn in this time. They have to. Yeah. They have to bring in Finn Balor this time. It's got to be the real club in WWE.
So do you think they'll start showing up at Finn's matches or at the pay-per-view?
I am really hoping so, because look, I know he's got a program that seems to be in the works against Shinsuke Nakamura based on that one little moment last week. But things have changed since last week. There's new executive directors in charge or whatever. They're saying they're going to try and make things different. Just bring Finn back to Raw. Put him on Raw. Let him be part of the club, and let him be Intercontinental Champion, because his Intercontinental title reign has been directionless. It's been very directionless. Or even just let him lose the Intercontinental title and then come to Raw and for something, you know, to add to the directionless factor where it's like he also lost the Intercontinental. They can literally have him lose to Nakamura, not even wait for the interview. Have him lose it to Nakamura, and then they go like, "Hey, brother, we're getting the band back together. You know, we're all in a rut. Like, we're all just come to it," and they can play off that for a while until Finn finally is the fourth man. You know, and they bring him out, and he comes out. Factions, absolutely. And I feel like Finn has been lost for a while. He's been directionless, you know, and I just feel like this is the direction that he needs. You know, and AJ Styles, I wouldn't say AJ has been directionless, but I do think that putting him and AJ in a faction together will most certainly help both of them. You know, the cocky heel factor, like, they can do it. Finn's done it. Finn is great at that role, and he hasn't done it in WWE yet. He's been a face since day one. So I mean, like, I really want that to happen, but regardless, this was great. I think that this, you know, whenever this is done, you have like a firm set of heels. And I think that I kind of feel like heels are lacking on Raw right now.
And I would argue, and this is maybe people might get mad at me, I would argue that these two matches between AJ Styles and Ricochet that we've seen beat any of those 6 months of matches we saw between AJ and Nakamura. I felt these have more ingenuity to the moves, more rhythm, more chemistry, more pacing. And I'm not talking about the NJPW stuff.
You're talking about WWE stuff,
I'm talking WWE stuff. I feel like these two guys are able to let go with each other, and they know they've got it, and their chemistry works. And I love that. So to me, keep this going for a while, and they eventually turn Finn heel, because Finn turning heel makes him exciting again and interesting again. And you don't even need to pull out the damn demon. Just let him be heel. It'll be fun, the four of them.
The jacket, the light up jacket again, like he's doing New Japan or whatever.
They can take on the New Day and kick the crap out of New Day or any other, the Usos, whatever. It's all there for them to do it.
And look at what being a badass heel did for Becky Lynch.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you do the exact same thing for Finn Balor, only this time they shouldn't abandon it like they do with Becky Lynch.
Right, exactly.
Because now Becky Lynch is over there making like couples jokes on Raw, and it's great. She's making tons of money, she's successful,
Sure.
but it's not the same as she was when she was the man when it first started, and they can do that for Finn Balor.
Yeah, well, maybe if she gets Maria Kanellis pregnant, she can return to that spot. All right, well, that's our recap of Raw last night.
I don't know a lot about how like bodies work and babies work, but I'm just saying I don't think that's possible, John Rocha.
She said it. She said, maybe I'll get the man to get me pregnant. All right, well, thanks, everybody, as I said, for watching this Raw recap on the Pro Wrestling Sheet. It's been a blast to talk about this show. You can tell we were excited about this episode. So, Paul Heyman, you did great work. Let's see what the next episode brings. It's not about doing it the first time. It's about doing it consistently for a while. So, hopefully, this will be the sign of some new great things coming down the line.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I agree with you. As hyped as we were on this show, it's got to continue.
Yep. Don't abandon.
Yeah, if they can just do shows like this again, great. I would be very, very happy. I look forward to next week and seeing, how they play off of everything on Raw. And I'm looking forward to SmackDown tonight to see if there's like other noticeable differences in the product. So yeah, I'm pumped on it.
And turn Charlie into your Mean Gene. She's there. You need a Mean Gene. I think Charlie could be a great Mean Gene. She's so good. Her dancing with the Street Profits, everything. She rolls with everything. I like her a lot. I think she should be a Mean Gene type. All right, Ryan, tell everybody where they can find, listen, watch, and read everything you do.
ProWrestlingSheet.com. That's the website where you can find all the top stories in the world of professional wrestling throughout the week. At Wrestling Sheet on social media. YouTube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet. That's where you can find the video of these Raw and SmackDown recaps that we do. You can find the video of Wrestling Sheet Radio, where we discuss all the top stories throughout the week. That comes out on Thursdays. YouTube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet. While you're there, make sure you like the videos. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you comment. I do my best to reply to some of you on there. I read them all. So make sure you guys keep commenting. I appreciate it very much. But also, if you just want to listen to the audio while you're driving, working out, cooking, doing whatever, go do that as well. Subscribe. It's on all the major podcast platforms. Just search Wrestling Sheet Radio on Spotify, Podcast One, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. Sure, there's one I haven't heard of. Go check them all out.
There you go. All right. Follow him at Ryan Satin. Follow me at The Rocha Says. Let us know what you thought about Raw on Twitter and on the social media, and of course in the comments on the YouTube video as well. And we'll see you tomorrow for another episode of SmackDown Live Recap, where we see what Bischoff can do with the SmackDown Live show. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
Maybe it'll be too sweet.
ProWrestlingSheet.com